what is up, players? So today I figured I'd do a year after little review of the Antelope Orion Studio 2017. Talk about a little bit of the pros and cons I've had over the last year, and if it's a good viable option for your studio setup. There was a lot of things that I really liked about it at the time of purchasing, and one of them clearly was the versatile I/O and having all the inputs necessary to hook up all my external preamps and stuff, and then the added 12 preamps that it comes with factory. It's kind of crazy. I think it's one of the interfaces with the highest count of preamps. Then the next thing I would say is it's a smaller thing, but I kind of really enjoy it, is the stepped volume control on the main volume knob in front of the interface in the front panel. I just love it. I think every company should start doing that. Some other things to talk about are like the feature, having a talkback on the interface and having the 2 pair of dedicated outputs for your speakers is really awesome, because that made me, get rid of my old PreSonus Central station that I used to have, which, to be honest, is not the greatest thing on the planet. Plus, it lets me have, all my conversion preamps and monitoring, interfacing stuff in just one convenient unit. The converters. That's, I think, one of the main reasons people are buying Antelope audio interfaces, is for the converters. They're pristine. They're amazing. I love them. I feel like converters should be maybe one of the nowadays converters. It sounds so good that it's like the difference is pretty much minimal, but it is an extra difference at the end of the day. The build quality is absolutely fantastic. The whole metal chassis and how the buttons feel and everything is like fantastic. I have no complaints about the hardware itself, and the unit looks just freaking gorgeous. Preamps, I really enjoy them. I don't use them as much as I would like to, because I'm using my audio preamps more and my art preamps on drums and stuff like that. But one thing I really like about them is when I'm tracking stuff like bass or guitar, it tends to detect the transients very well, and it helps me later for editing and getting stuff chopped up and stuff. But other than that, they're just very, very clean and transparent preamps with tons of gain. And the fact that I can use the app to control the amount of gain when I'm like tracking drums by myself or tracking some other instrument in my live room, that's really convenient. The next thing I love that has accelerated my workflow tremendously is having the dedicated reamp outs. On the front panel of the Studio 2017, you have 2 reamp outputs, and super convenient because I have here on my desk like my Axe effects and stuff like that, and I have some pedals and stuff for bass reamps, and it's really convenient to just have it here. That way I can keep one of the outputs of it strictly routed towards my live room to reamp over there with my tube amps and stuff like that, or the big bass Ampeg cab, blah blah blah. I find the software to be extremely versatile, very versatile. There's some glitches and stuff that we'll get back to it, but once it's very user friendly if you have a general understanding of signal flow, and you can literally do whatever you want. You can like route any preamp to whatever output you want, to any mixer you want. There's so many options in it, and I find it very convenient. And then, like, the cherry on top of the cake as far as pros goes, if you're looking into this interface, is that it comes with effects similar to what Universal Audio is doing, and they sound really good. To be honest, I've never used them as hardware inserts, other for the fact that teaching some of my students some signal routing in Pro Tools, that I've used those as like hardware inserts inside of a session. But other than that, it's just faster and more convenient for me to reach out to other plugins that are inside of my DAW. I have my vocal chain set up there. I have some drum stuff that I have set up there with some, you know, EQ carving that I know I'm going to do later when I'm mixing. So might as well just get it right off the bat. Plus you give the artist an incredible sounding, you know, headphone mix. Talking about the software as well, since we're at it, that's where I'm going to start with my first con. So there's most of the cons with this interface and product by Antelope Audio has to deal with software and customer support. Drivers, for the most part, they've been relatively reliable. They were better on iMac than they are on Windows, that's for sure. On Mac OS, sorry. Back when I had my iMac, everything seemed to be going pretty solid, other than some every once in a while it wouldn't connect to the control panel, and then, you know, have to call customer support, be on the phone for 2 hours, and just, you know, nonsense. So another of the cons I'd say would be their customer support. I haven't had terrible experiences with them. They've been mediocre, but that being said, like, these are pro audio, like these products are aimed for like people that are making a living in this industry with this stuff, and anytime we have some downtime, it's money in the pocket that we're losing, and that kind of sucks a little bit. And I know, you know, on forums and on the Antelope Audio users Facebook community and stuff, you know, people have been having a lot of issues. And overall, I just feel like the client base that Antelope has gained over the years are not happy. They're not happy. And it sucks to see that, because they have an amazing hardware. And the people that use it extensively, they'll tell you, you know, it's the bomb. And it's up there with any of the higher end converters and interfaces in the market. effects to DAW. So if you're not familiar with this, Antelope came out with a bunch of plugins bundled with their interface, which are amazing, which I talked in the pros are, you know, fantastic plugins, but you can only use them as hardware inserts through the software, and you got to do some crazy routing in your DAW, and sometimes, you know, for the sake of time, it's not worth it to do it. But that being said, I don't know the full backstory, but people on forums claim that, you know, this was going to be a feature that was going to be offered to existing customers, which is the effects to DAW, which is a plugin that, you know, bridges the gap between being able to use efficiently and in a fast manner the plugins that Antelope has to offer, and not having to, you know, do some crazy routing and then print stuff. That's going to cost you another $399 if you purchase an Antelope interface. So if you want to use those effects as plugins, you're going to have to put out another $400 out of your pocket. Which, you know, whatever. I didn't buy it for the plugins. I do think it's a little shady, but, you know, what you're going to do. Business is business. They know what they're doing. I don't think it's quite fair, but what are you going to do? So the next one I wanted to talk about too, huge con for me, because I used to be a Mac OS. I had a Mac OS based system, and I was running Antelope, you know, no problems, and Thunderbolt driver seemed to be pretty stable. But now I switched to Windows, as many other engineers are doing nowadays, because Mac OS is starting to make less sense, and it's not future proof for us engineers. And Antelope has a Windows Thunderbolt driver, but it is not supported by Windows. What does that mean? Well, you'll be fine running your DAW, Pro Tools, you know, Cubase, whatever, you know, it'll open up and you'll be able to record. But let's say, you know, you're in the studio chilling and taking a break, and you want to watch some YouTube videos, or you want to just watch an episode on Netflix or anything like that. It doesn't show up. in your Windows audio devices. Nothing. So you need to download third-party applications to be able to do this. Now, as far as I understand, this interface, the 2017 model has been in the market for almost a year and a half. The regular Orion Studio has been a little over 2 years, I want to say, if not more. And the fact that they don't have a Windows driver is insane to me. Like, I don't know why they do not have one in all this time. And, you know, it's kind of the one thing right now in my system that's kind of bugging me out. I don't feel like, you know, my system is running as smooth as it could possibly run. But, you know, there's a lot of pros that are gonna keep me here working with this interface. And then last but not least, AFX to DAW plugin that we were talking about before has no Windows support whatsoever. Nothing. It's only available for Apple. And if you ask me, I don't think it's going to be available for Windows till, like, I don't know, whatever, 2 years. I feel like Antelope, they're very concerned about gaining more customers rather than making their actual customer base satisfied with their products. And that's a bummer, because you see it all over the forums, people jumping ship and selling their interfaces and, you know, move into Apogee, move into Universal Audio. And it sucks because they have a great product. It's a fantastic product. But it's little things, you know, that will get people worked up and a little angry. Would I recommend the Antelope Orion 2017? Yes. If you're a person that, you know, needs high counts of I/O, that likes live tracking, that likes using effects on the way in and using compression and giving the artist some really nice headphone mixes and stuff like that, I think it's amazing. Now, if you're a person that likes plug and play devices and doesn't want to worry about troubleshooting stuff or having something down every once in a while, and, you know, not having a whole lot of patience, I'd probably look somewhere else. And if you're definitely a person that relies on DSP processing, is looking for a solution for their DSP processing and wants to process things in your DAW without using so much of your CPU, I do not recommend this whatsoever. But that being said, hopefully you guys liked this video. Hopefully it was useful for any of you guys watching. And don't forget to, you know, subscribe, click that like button, leave me some feedback, some comments, see if this content is interesting for you guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Later.